If you're ready to dive into the world of sports card investing and collecting, put your credit card away. This is a no-dive zone. Now, I just made my first $1,000 of pure profit in just 6 weeks of getting back into sports cards, and I'll share with you the 7 steps to take to get involved in a safe, healthy, and fun way so you can not only make money, but enjoy the process. Welcome back. Now let's get to work. Step 1, put the credit card away. I know if you're getting involved in sports cards, all you want to do is whip out that credit card and buy everything you see. It is so much fun. It is so exciting. There are millions of cards and you want to have this and this. But the problem is that at first, you don't know nearly enough to invest soundly. At first, you're really adopting the collector's mindset. This card is cool. It has an autograph on it. This one has a piece of the player's jersey. This guy is really hot right now, or I just saw a news article on this dude, so I want to buy this card. And everything is so fun. And I know this because when I got back in, I was buying all my favorite players left and right without much background, without much logic. And collectors are more emotion driven. This is a fun hobby. There's an emotion attached to the cards, while for an investor, you got to be a lot more logical and a lot more strategic. So what I recommend is the first 2 weeks of getting into this, just absorb information. Watch this video, then watch someone else's, then watch someone else's, then do some research, and then dive into everything, because you do not want to spend your money as a collector when you want to get into this as an investor. The more you spend as a collector at first, the less money you'll have to invest in cards. And when I go back to the first 2 to 3 weeks of getting into sports card investing, I look back at some of my purchases and I go, man, I thought that was a good investment, but I was totally thinking like a collector. So put the credit card away at least for 2 weeks. Step 2 is to cram like you're studying for finals. That means you're not buying for 2 weeks. You're not just sitting at home doing nothing. You are watching every YouTube video, listening to every podcast, reading every article, doing your own research, seeing what the different perspectives have in agreement as well as where they differ, and then coming up with your own strategy. I really believe that if you cram for 2 weeks, just like you're studying for a test in real estate or a test for biology, you will have so much momentum going in. I'd also recommend you check out stations like Sports Card Investor, PSA Collector. Those are some of the guys I follow religiously, as well as Robert Kiyosaki videos, Warren Buffett videos. The smarter you get as an investor overall, the more you can take that over to the sports card world, and you could apply it to real estate and stocks. And for me, I feel like I have a natural advantage because finance and investing and real estate, all that kind of stuff, has so many parallels to what I'm seeing here. So I'm able to skip some of that hard lessons that I would have learned years ago. The important part is that you are listening a lot, you are absorbing a lot, because I've noticed this with my own purchases. There would be one podcast episode where there's one guy being interviewed who's super knowledgeable, he's been in this forever, and he will give me one tip that makes a light bulb click in my brain. That's why my card didn't sell, or that's why this card is so expensive, that I can now take with me. But if I were to slack on that information, if I didn't listen to that one podcast or that one YouTube video, then I would have bought 10 of those cards and spent $500, not realizing that that wasn't a good investment. So that's why I really believe absorb as much as you can in 2 weeks, maybe longer, but at least 2 weeks, so that if you only have $100 to invest, or $1,000 or $10,000, you are making sure it goes in the exact, the most optimal place possible. Number 3 is to discover your advantages. Maybe you are a young guy and you don't have much money to invest, but you have a lot of time. Maybe you are older and you don't have a lot of time, but you have a lot of money. Maybe you are a blogger for a sports team and you really know the ins and outs of a division or a specific team. Maybe it's you have good relationships with athletes, or you have good relationships with card shop owners. List out all of your advantages, because you want to lean into those advantages. If you know a lot more about a player or a team than the masses, you got to start there. If you have a lot of time, you got to use your time. Maybe you can run around town and collect lots that people are selling on Facebook Marketplace, or you can go to thrift stores or garage sales, and people without much time can't do that. So you got to leverage your advantages. Step 4 is to define your niche. So the more you study, the more you learn about all the different ways of getting involved with sports cards. There's flipping, there's investing long term, there's Hall of Famers, there's rookies, there's graded cards, there's raw cards, there's packs and boxes. There's so many ways, but you learn all that at first, and then you narrow that down with what you want, what makes you alive, what makes you feel so great, and what your advantages are. And now you can actually put that together into your niche. So your niche may be, I don't have time, I hate shipping, I hate packaging, I hate all this in and out. I want to just deal with cards online and trade, do more day trading like on CompC. For me, that's been working because I want to start on a smaller level with raw cards. I don't want to invest too much just yet. And I want to see what's working, what's not working. I want to learn, but also don't want to deal with all these cards coming in and out, because that adds more of a headache than an enjoyment. You might like the fact of receiving cards in and shipping them out and making it more of a hands-on business, but that's up to you, and that only comes after you've done the research, you've looked at your advantages, what makes you feel alive inside, and where you want to take it. Next up, determine your budget or your initial investment amount. Now, this is really important because people are flocking to sports card investing because they're seeing the money. So they're buying cards on credit card, which is extremely dangerous because as card prices continue to climb because of this initial rush, the more we've got to be aware that this could be a bubble, this could taper off when the quarantine ends. Things can simmer down, and no matter what, if you're not in a good financial spot, if you're using your credit card to buy sports cards and you're not paying it off at the end of each month, then you should not be doing this. You really need to make sure you are safe and sound with your finances outside of this. You need to make sure that you have an emergency fund, that your card's not going to get repossessed because you get behind on payments because you're investing in a card. And also, the more financially stressed you are, the more you will have to sell at the wrong time. When you're in a good financial spot, you can buy a card and just wait. And as Warren Buffett says, the stock market is a device from transferring from the impatient to the patient. So the better situation you're in, the more patient you can be, and you can wait for that card to reach the price you want to sell at versus selling out of desperation. Number 6 is to find your ideal platform. Again, there's eBay, CompC, there's Beckett Marketplace, there is at card shops, there are flea markets, there's Facebook Marketplace, there's so many places, and they're popping up. I think I said StockX. So many different places, but after you figure out what you really want from sports card investing and what is fun for you, then you can narrow it down. Like I said, I like CompC to begin with because I like raw cards. Just because it's smaller scale, I can diversify a lot more rather than be stuck with a couple cards that if they don't sell, then I'm just sitting on it. And with CompC, I like being able to buy so many different cards. I get to see patterns. I get to pick that up. So my learning curve is a lot shorter using CompC. And it also takes all that taxes, shipping, in and out crap away. But you got to find the platform that works best for you. Number 7 is to think and strategize for the long haul. I know there's a lot of excitement, a lot of buzz around sports cards right now because we don't have anything else. There's no sports, there's no gambling. It's hot. We got Gary Vee hyping it up. We have so many things going on. But is this something you're just in right now while it's hot? Or is this something that you could see yourself in for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, your whole life? Because that's the way I see it. And I'm going about it that way. I'm looking at this temporary spike, this surge that we're seeing right now as a result of people getting in, a lack of alternatives. But I'm also strategizing for 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, so that I'm investing in cards that I feel are very safe long term. And if you're only in it short term, then you're going to be flipping and you're going to be doing all these things and you might make money, but you're also way more susceptible to being caught. Because if you're the last one to hold your card and the market dives, or that player becomes injured and they were a hyped player and they didn't have too much merit behind their name, they hadn't proven themselves, then you could be stuck with $3,000 of cards that are now worth $30. And that's not my strategy. If that works for you, that's cool. But the longer term you can think about this, the more you can have patience, the more you can take the emotions out of the short term of just gotta buy this guy, and instead say, hold on, I know he's big now, but let's look at the last 5 years who were also hyped and didn't work out. Let's look at a more proven and a better strategy to make sure that I'm enjoying this hobby, I'm making money in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. Those are my 7 steps for starting out as a sports card investor. If you'd like to learn how to make your first $1,000 in this industry, stay tuned for my next video. I'll see you over there.